All right, final day. This is it. Wow. Two more speakers we have, and I'm very excited to be sharing this space with all of you, amazing human beings, amazing light workers, light warriors, amazing humans, and all the incredible speakers that we've had so far. And the next two that we have joining us today, we have Lynda Bell joining us now, who is somebody that I've been connected with for a few years, I guess, through the activist movement, through being vegan in the vegan scene in Christchurch and online. And yeah, she's been a big inspiration for me with activist art, and just as an awesome human. She's a really sweet person, and I'm blessed to be connected with her. So I will bring her on, and we can get her to introduce herself properly. All right. Yay, Lynda, welcome.
Hello. I'm just going to turn you off so you're not echoing on my Facebook.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello. How are you feeling? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah. Thank you.
So good to have you. It's really exciting for us to connect in this way. I think we've met in person a few times. We had coffee in Christchurch a couple of times, I believe, and
I do remember.
at the expo. And yeah, we've been online friends for quite a while through the whole vegan New Zealand vegan scene, and international as well. You're very well known actually within the vegan scene, and even outside of that, I've seen a lot of your work shared. So it's really exciting to have you with us today. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for inviting me. It's it's a privilege to be among such fabulous humans. I've really enjoyed the week so far.
It's been such a blessing. It's been a roller coaster. For me personally, it's been an emotional week. There's been a lot that's gone into this, and it's been beautifully unfolding exactly as it needed to, perfectly. And it was really just a matter of having the container, putting the pieces together. You know, for me, I see creating the social media stuff as art. That's how I feel really creative when I'm in that flow, working on this software called Canva, which is how I've done the social media stuff, and I really enjoy it. So
awesome.
And
then you're doing a good job
together. Thank you so much.
Doing a fantastic job.
It's been a beautiful creative flow, and and just bringing people together. You know, as I said before, I feel like everybody who's been in here with us are just friends. We're all human. We're all going through our ups and downs and learnings and doing the work. Like, everybody's doing so much incredible work on themselves and for the planet, for the animals, and it's just an honor for me to have everybody involved and connecting. You know, New Zealand, we've had a couple of speakers last night. We had Maria, a friend of mine from New Zealand. She's in the North Island as well, not Auckland, but near you. And now we've got you're in Whangarei, which is exciting.
Yes. Love it up here.
Firstly, I also wanted to acknowledge the original custodians of the land. This is just a tradition that I've learned from being in Australia that I really like, is just acknowledging the original custodians, the elders past, present and emerging, and to acknowledge that the people here, sovereignty was never ceded in Australia. And just the indigenous peoples of the world. I feel like we're all doing our best to make reparations for the people and for the animals, the animal spirits and the plants and the whole planet. We're all just doing our best to make the world a better place for everybody. So just want to acknowledge that. And and so you're doing so much amazing work. Like, I've completely lost count of how many beautiful paintings I've seen of yours. Do you know how many you have?
No. I know I did something like 54 last year. But last year was a big year. I think because of lockdown, I did a lot more art than usual. But yeah, I paint really quickly and enthusiastically. And when I'm inspired, I can't stop. Yeah, probably when I was younger, I would paint even more. I had more energy.
I can't even imagine doing that many paintings, to be honest. Because I'm as a painter myself, definitely not as prolific, but my paintings definitely do not move that quickly. I've still got a couple that I've been working on for a year or so, like one that I started when just after I came back from New Zealand, came to Australia last February. And I started a painting for myself for Paradise Rising, and I'm still working on that. And then there's another commission that there was a bit of a hiatus with that because personal things, but that's two that I've been working on for a year. So I don't know how you managed.
It's very normal. I've actually had paintings like that have taken me ages. I just sort of come back to them every now and again, and it will take me several months to finish them. But I'm painting other things in between, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to hear your experience of your flow, or how. Why don't we start from the beginning? I'd love to hear your story of how you became an artist and vegan and animal rights artist, and how you are where you are today.
Gosh, that's a long story. All right.
We have time.
Well, I guess, yeah, you've got lots of time. I guess you could say, I mean, I've always made art. It's just been a thing that I've been obsessed with since a child, as lots of children are. Loads of children love doing art, but I never ever put those crayons and paints down. So, and as a child, I think my top three loves were animals, stories, writing and reading stories, and art, making art. And they are still my top three. So I think those have been my three driving forces in my life. And I think all through growing up, I always thought I'd be an artist. When I was a child, it was just a given. And I was going to write stories, I was going to make books. Somewhere along the line, probably during high school, my confidence in that dropped a little bit. And I think I heard, other people's words that, oh, artists don't make any money. It's not a job. It's not a career. A careers advisor would say, oh, just make sure you take maths and stuff like that. So I started getting it into my head that perhaps I didn't want to be an artist. I thought, oh, it's a bit of a lonely career and it's a bit selfish. So my vision was that I'd be alone in my studio, just being selfish and painting pretty pictures. And I really wanted to help people. And I didn't really know how my art could help anybody. Very naive. So while this was going on as a teenager, as a young child, I grew up with lots and lots of animals. My mum was a big animal rescuer. And, from a very early age, I learned all about how to care for birds if they'd flew into the window, or the cat had got them, or they'd fallen out of a nest. And all the cats and dogs in the neighbourhood seemed to know that our house was the one to come to if they needed rescuing. So we had a lot of animals growing up. And so I guess, growing up with animals in my house and in my yard, I could see their sentience. You can just, that they've got souls and they've got personalities, and you grieve when you lose them. And so I didn't, when I made the connection between like what meat was, I didn't like it at all, but I still thought, as my parents thought, and most people thought back then, is that we have to eat it or we won't survive. And so it was one of those things, my mother was always like, I wish we didn't have to eat meat, but we do. But when I was a teenager, I was about 16, I decided I didn't want to eat meat again. So that started my process. And it was quite a few years before I became vegan. I've been vegan 8 years now, but so now I'm backtracking again. It's a long story. So I was vegetarian and I wanted to help people, but I loved making art. So I thought art therapy might be good.
Mm.
And I was also looking at drama therapy too,
Mm.
but I couldn't find anywhere that would train me in this.
Mm.
And I spoke to a drama therapist, and she said, oh, it's all postgraduate, you need to do something else first. So I got into teaching because I thought, well, I'm going to specialize in special needs teaching. I'm going to help people as best I can. And that teaching, I enjoyed Teachers College. It was creative. Teaching, I lasted about 3 years before I completely burnt out because I wasn't being true to myself. I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. And so I went to a little art school, and I moved to Wellington, and I started studying art. And that was the beginning of really thinking, yes, I want to make my life as an artist. And I didn't really know how. I just knew that was what I needed to do. And so later on, I did actually study art therapy, because it was still that in my mind, I need a job and I need to be doing something with this. And during my training in art therapy, I also discovered that what I really wanted to do was make art. This is just all the time nagging at me. And I learned about making art as a therapeutic tool. And then I delved into using stories as therapeutic tools as well. So therapeutic storytelling for all sorts of people, and particularly for children who, you find it hard to communicate, might find it hard to communicate with them, or they find it hard to communicate themselves. And through the use of storytelling, through symbolism and metaphor, even all the metaphor within fairy tales and a lot of the classic fables, you can actually reach people in a different way. It might be more subtle, it might be more like planting seeds, but it's still working. So I got really into that, and I decided, right, I want to actually illustrate, I want to do a therapeutic picture books, because I couldn't find a lot out there like that. So anyway, I had small children when this was my plan. So my children are 16 and 17 now. So I am just getting to that point where I'm ready to make those books. Yeah. So so before making the books, I've just been painting, obsessively painting, and I've always loved painting animals. It's just been my thing. Animals have always been my thing. And always what I wanted to get across was the unity between different species of animals, and also between ourselves as human animals and other animals. And just the fact that we are all sentient beings, and we're all part of this earth and this planet. And it used to really frustrate me that well, it still frustrates me that people will love some animals and not others. I mean, that's a frustrating thing that many vegans, or anyone in the animal rights movement is very, frustrated by. And so I would paint pictures of, the native animals that everybody loved, and then the ones that they didn't love, the ones that they were called pests, and then, pictures of dogs next to pigs and cows and cats and that sort of thing. So that has been my driving force over the last few years, is just painting pictures that just say something to my viewers without me having to lecture them.
Yeah, I feel like it's so powerful, and I love that you do that in a subtle, non-judgmental, like in a positive way with the color. It's bright, it's friendly, it's inviting, it's exciting. They're beautiful, beautiful animals, and as you say, showing the unity and kind of subtly highlighting what we would in the animal rights community would call speciesism, which is what you're saying about the fact that we as humans have been conditioned to see some animals as worthy of love and others as pests, or as just the ones that we eat. and that's all they're there for. That's all they're good for, is just being bred and, you know, treated the way they're treated, and killed and eaten. But you do it in such a beautiful way that is really, you know, supportive and uplifting, and as you say, it's planting seeds. I think that's the thing with art. It is subtle, and especially for those of us who are more in touch with the subtleties of life and energy, and, you know, we're able to pick up on these things. Everybody is able to, if they, you know, do the inner work to like clear themselves out and become more what's the word, sensitive to subtleties, and it's planting those seeds, and it's really I see art as just a really beautiful way of spreading messages in an uplifting way. It can be not uplifting as well, depending on the art, but yours is so uplifting and so bright and colorful. And I love the fact that you've got this the sort of inner child energy with it as well. It's very much you know, the fairy tale kind of element to it as well. These beautiful princesses, and you've got all these gorgeous girls generally. Have you got any that are boys, or they're all sort of princess kind of energies?
I've done 2 boys.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not great at painting boys actually. Often when I've tried to paint them, they look feminine, but that's okay too. Yeah, I just need more practice.
Well,
it's sort of more, I think the reason why they're often girls is because it's about, you know, that Mother Earth energy that protect the earth and all its inhabitants, and that sort of princess and goddess archetype that we are so used to in all our storytelling and our mythology. And I think that whole childlike thing, I mean, I don't consciously do that, but I think it stems from just the fact that, you know, we are all born loving animals. We're all born as compassionate beings. And for some of us, that gets stripped away a little bit, or we forget. And it depends a lot on our upbringing, but not always. So it's more about just remembering that compassion that we're all born with. I mean, you look at how children respond to animals. It's very natural. They don't, you know, like, you know, a baby lion would try to rip a rabbit's head off, but you know, a human child doesn't do that. So I think naturally instinctively we are meant to be protectors and carers and friends to animals, rather than the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. It's the conditions of the child's upbringing that really conditions us to see them in such a different way. That's just it's a level of programming that, you know, through whatever circumstances of somebody's upbringing will change the way that they see and share their life with animals or not. And I'd love to hear more from you about the storytelling aspect of what that's going to look like with your so the art that you've been creating, like the content essentially, will that go into a book? You mentioned
well, I have made an art book already. I've got a book on Amazon. It's just my artwork, you know, and images and the stories that go with each painting. So at the moment, every time I do a painting, I tend to write a little story that goes with it. And a lot of times it's just fun and imaginary, you know. It's just there's another thing I want to do when I paint and when I put paintings up for everybody to see is to spread joy, to make people happy, because you know, when you're miserable, you can't really do much, can you? Like if you're angry and you're unhappy, and I know for me, I'm not very productive. And but when I'm happy and I've got confidence and I can feel joy and laughter, I just think the world is a lot better when people are happy. So it's about spreading happiness. So a lot of my stories are about that. And some of them have more of a deeper meaning, and are about animal rights, or even about just diversity within humankind as well. And but what I am planning to do is make actual picture books, so illustrated books. Yeah, so I'm actually working on one just secretly. It's not really a secret, but I'm not showing any of the work at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you're working on, those are the paintings you're working on right now, or you're working on the putting it together, the book element?
Yeah, I'm working on the illustrations for the book, and as well as just canvas paintings as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, I like to have lots of things going on.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
With the canvas paintings, it's just, they are more fun, and they're more like, I can be quite intuitive with them. But illustrations are a bit more, I've got to use my brain. So when I'm not in the mood to illustrate, I love to have this other project going on. That's my joy project on the side. Yeah. So that's the one that people will see. But yeah, the book, I have to see if I can find a publisher first, and then I might reveal some pictures.
Ooh, that's exciting. I'm so looking forward to it. I love all your art. And yeah, that's, what did you say, 54 that you made last year? That's amazing.
Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, 53 or 50, I've forgotten, 50 something. Yeah.
And how do you see the spread of your artwork? So do you sell the originals, or do you sell prints, obviously, and you send them to people who buy the prints around the world? Are there places that are like really big fans, and certain parts of the world that you tend to send a lot of your work to, or how does it look?
I would say mostly the USA and the UK, more than anywhere else. And I have sent a few prints and original paintings to Germany. I think, it depends on who shares what. And I did, maybe I still do, but for a while there, I had seemed like quite a large fan base in Brazil. A lot of attention from Brazil, but not any purchases as such. It is tricky to send things sometimes to South America. I have done it before, but it does have its problems. But yeah, somebody in Brazil shared my work on a website of some sort, and I didn't even know what it was, but all of a sudden I was inundated. So yeah, I think it just depends on who sees it where. Yeah, but certainly in the beginning, certainly it was the USA, very much. Yeah, and the painting, I don't know if you remember the Protector. It's a painting that it's sort of got quite famous quite fast, and that actually it lives in America now.
Oh wow, the originals over there.
The originals over there.
Yeah, there's you have so many. I do remember, I think the main ones, the main big ones I can picture. And yeah, so it really depends on the spread through social media, I guess, right? Mostly
more than anything.
Yeah. And I know you've had some trouble with people copying and plagiarism and that kind of thing. Like, that must be kind of a frustrating side to being a well-known artist, and somebody who obviously, that's the thing about when that happens, that's like, what's the saying? Imitation is the greatest form of flattery. But at the same time, it's frustrating, and it's like, it's not.
People tell me, oh, it's a compliment, and I'm like, but I don't feel happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, when I get a compliment, I feel happy. I have there was a little while there where I was quite sort of I guess I was trying to be protective of myself, and kind of just distanced myself a little bit from the animal rights movement for that reason. I just felt like I wasn't really getting any support in terms of, even just little things like likes and comments on Facebook, but everybody seemed to be downloading my work and and sharing it and just not saying who the artist was. And there were a couple of people that weren't very happy when I asked them to put my name to it. And one woman, in fact, told me that I shouldn't even be expecting money from my art. Like, my job as a vegan is to spread the message of compassion and not to receive money. And
how are you supposed to do that?
Yeah, that didn't make me very happy, because of course, you know, this is my actual job. It is the only way I earn money. So if I'm not making money from it, I can't do it anymore. That's the bottom line. So it's not really helping anybody if I'm giving my art away. So yeah, think it did happen a lot, and I'm still seeing it every now and again. There were some companies and they're still doing it, and they do it to lots of artists, particularly vegan artists, I think, because veganism's quite trendy. They will just take our images, remove the watermarks, and put them on t-shirts and other merchandise. And you know, I spend I say a lot of time, but it happens often where someone will alert me to that happening, and I'm quite calm about it now. I'm so used to it, and I go, okay, I'll just send them a takedown notice. It's kind of one of those run-of-the-mill, right, this is mine, please take it down.
Yeah, done this before, now I know how to deal with it. But
yeah,
you don't want to have to. I think there's a big difference in the energy behind imitation or plagiarism, somebody just taking your stuff and sharing it without any credit. You know, artist credit, I think, is really important. And that's just because, you know, as an artist myself and working with lots of artists, I've come to understand that it's not always been the case. But crediting people, and there's a big difference energetically between plagiarism and inspiration, feeling inspired by another artist, feeling inspired by somebody, or encouraged. You know, I like to just encourage people to express themselves, to be artists themselves, to be who they are, and to let their energy be shown to the world through their creativity. And you know, there might be aspects of what I do that might inspire, or I'm constantly inspired by other artists. That's the point. Artists are inspired by each other and by what we see around us. But there's a big difference between just copying and feeling encouraged or doing something that's, you know, I see something that someone does and I'm like, oh, that's awesome, I hadn't thought of that, like I can do that too, thank you, like there's permission granted, that's, you know, I'm grateful for that, and then I can go and do it in my own way. You know, everybody kind of puts their own spin on it.
Absolutely.
So it's, in a sense, like I get why people would say, oh, it's a compliment, but it's just without the credit, and somebody just, you know, just taking what you've created and then you not receiving any or the expectation of there should be no like remuneration for your energy. It's an energy exchange thing, right? And so
it is.
I guess something that actually held me back for a long time was feeling like, oh, I shouldn't be making money from my art, or I shouldn't be or, you know, with activism, with I guess the more kind of the more deeply I became involved in activism that was much more like anti-capitalist, that kind of made me become a lot more fearful as well of actually putting an energy exchange number on my work, whether that's paintings or actually just being able to receive, like being open to receive financial support from the community or from anybody who just wants to support me. So I've had to do a lot of my own work to actually shift that mindset and to allow myself to receive financially. And it's still a process. It's still like a work in progress. Because there is still that belief, I guess, within amongst most, well, I won't say most, but a lot of people see art as it's just something that you do as like a hobby, or there kind of still is this weird thing around art and the whole struggling artist, you know,
Yes.
thing. Like, we shouldn't be struggling.
Yeah.
We should be
No, we shouldn't be.
the same.
Yeah, we're so, I mean, art is so important. I mean,
Yeah.
the world without it, come on. It would be terrible. Yeah. Yeah, I understand that mindset very well. And I used to feel very guilty taking money off people.
Mm.
And even back when I sold my art way too cheap, and people would pay me X amount, and I would just think, oh my gosh, I feel so bad taking this
Mm.
from them, and not thinking that actually I've created this artwork that's, I mean, it's taken me hours of my time and my energy, and I put my heart and soul into it, but it's also all those years beforehand to get to that painting. So that's why it's kind of, when people copy your work, it's even more insulting, because you've had all that, you've had training, or you've had practice, and you've built up the skills or the emotions or whatever has gone into that painting, and then somebody's just kind of ripped it off. So I think that, to me, is why it's a bit ouch. Yeah. Because I mean, people ask me all the time how long it takes me to do a painting, and I honestly have no idea. I go into dream world when I'm painting, and it takes me a lot of days and a lot of hours here and there, and I don't really count it, but it's the hours. It's like, well, how long have I been alive? That's actually how long it took me
Yeah.
to make that painting.
Mm.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's your life experience. It's everything that you are, that has built up over a lifetime of being and learning, and shifting your perspectives. Obviously, you say you've been vegan for 8 years and you've been vegetarian for longer as well. So it's like
Yeah.
all that time that you've had to think about how you feel about things, and what what you stand for, what you believe in, and what you the love and the energy that you put into your art from all of those things, that is then encapsulated in this image. And there's so much that goes into that. As you say, it's the training and everything as well. Like, there's so much to it. It's so much more than, somebody might see it, and it's just like this imprint, it's like this image in front of them, and suddenly it's appeared, but they've no idea who you are, or why, the care and the attention that's gone into it, and the work that you've poured your love into this. So it's I guess it's just like a disconnect, and a lack of maybe lack of really being able to see the bigger picture, maybe, of who you are and how you've been involved in the whole thing, in the whole creation, as the creator.
Yeah.
Because you're this creatrix, right? We're creator being.
Like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that word.
Yeah. Me too. Sounds like a good title for a painting.
Yeah, it would be awesome, actually.
Yeah.
Animal creatrix.
Yeah. I love it.
Something else that I love about your art, well, there's so many things, but they remind me of my childhood, and they kind of take me back to, I grew up in Africa. I'm super blessed to have the childhood that I had. I was thinking about it this morning. I was like, I can't believe this is my life. Like, this is so amazing. I'm so lucky and grateful. And my childhood was so beautiful. I'm so blessed to have grown up the way I did, with so many animals in my life. Yeah. Companions. We had, majority of my childhood, we had four dogs and 2 cats, and there were other, before the kittens, there were other cats, and those, over that time, a couple of the dogs passed away, and so it was a journey as well. It was 12 years that I was in Zimbabwe, and so there were the companions, but then also, it was Africa, and I grew up in a really, really lucky to have like quite a lot of space where our house was. It was almost like um, it was in the city, but it was kind of in the bush. And there was, we had like bamboo down the bottom of the garden. We had, like a bamboo forest, and we had bush out the back, and we had, so that with that came lots of other animals like snakes. We had a lot of
Yeah.
snakes. There was
Wow.
actually, my sister reminded me, or I think I didn't even know, but she told me a couple of 18 months ago when I last saw her, I think, and she said that there was a moment when I was, I think, maybe only a few months old, maybe a year or so, where my mum carried me into my bedroom and my cot, and there was a massive python right under my cot.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
So,
cannot imagine.
yeah, kind of intense. So
Yeah.
they had to they had to get somebody to come and remove this
Mm,
python from under my bed when I was a baby. And so growing up like really close to animals in that way, there's danger associated with that, but I still,
mhm.
I guess partly because of that one experience, but also lots of other snakes, lots of other animals that I grew up around, and we'd go on safari, and see animals in their more natural habitats, more removed from like the city life.
Mm,
um, I felt a very deep connection with those animals. New Zealand's got
mm.
other amazing animals, and I love the New Zealand wildlife, the New Zealand flora and fauna, and the same in Australia. It's so diverse. The
Mm.
world is everywhere has their own unique
Yeah,
um,
that's incredible,
quality.
eh? Yeah. Yeah,
Mm,
Australia just has the most spectacular animals that you just can't find anywhere else. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Amazing amount of animals. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think with New Zealand being so isolated, right? It's
Mm.
actually, from what I understand, it broke off from the rest of the world Gondwanaland, or
Yeah.
if that was the
Yeah,
word
because
at
we
that
were all
time.
joined at some stage, weren't we? Yeah, but somehow we didn't get any of the dangerous animals, which is fantastic.
Yeah, amazing. And all the reptiles, like so many beautiful reptiles. I love them. I love,
Mm,
um, yeah, there's a lot of like really beautiful native birds.
mm,
So
yeah.
yeah, no, you've got a lot of, as you say, to kind of break down the speciesism, you've got a lot of the
Mm,
different animals to show their similarities.
yeah.
And I think I've seen a few that are more specifically like wildlife, or
Mm.
the reptiles. Do you like to kind of generally have lots of different kinds of animals together, or you've got themes?
Yeah, I do both actually. So, I mean, a lot of my paintings are just random animals, whatever I can think of. And a lot of them I've conjured, like the bunny bees. I don't think they're
Yeah,
real,
yeah.
but maybe they're real. I don't know. I see them a lot in my mind. Um,
So cool.
but I did, yeah, sometimes I'll do a series. So I did a series last year that I had an exhibition, and it was called the Picnic Series. So it was about sort of coming together, animals all coming together and having a picnic. And so each one was based on generally a different part of the world. Although I had one that was all dogs, all cats, and all rabbits. And then I had Motherland Picnic, which was the Africa
Mm.
one, and then I had one Forest Picnic was New Zealand, Bush Picnic was Australia, um, and then another one that was the Asian animals. So a whole lot of different, I'd have lizards mixed with birds, mixed with bears, and whatever goes. Because it was sort of about celebrating diversity as well. It's like it was not just about animals. It was kind of about people too, about that oneness and unity.
Mm.
Even though we have these differences, we're all actually people of the earth. Yeah. So yeah, sometimes I do that, and then I've got my godmother series, which I'm always adding to. So the godmothers are these females or goddesses that protect a certain group of animals. So I haven't done a reptile one, but I'm going to. So there will be a reptile godmother
Cool.
and an insect godmother. So I've done 16 of those so far. And it started out being a more animal rights. So my very first one was Kara, the feathered godmother, and she protected the birds of the water birds in New Zealand specifically, but a lot of these birds are in other countries too. And I painted it on Mother's Day weekend, and it was the first day, the Saturday before Mother's Day was the first day of the duck shooting season here in New Zealand, which I never enjoy. And there were a group of people in Christchurch who were called Kara, which is Christchurch Animal Rights Activists, I think. Yeah, you'd know about them. And they were on the news because they were out there down by the river at some terrible hour in the morning, banging pots, trying to wake up the ducks, and trying to educate people about what it actually meant when you went out duck shooting and what it did to the birds. So I was just inspired. I just spent the entire weekend painting this painting of this goddess protecting the water birds. And my husband thought of the name Kara, the feathered godmother, and that's where the godmother series started. Wow. Yeah. So and it was appropriate because it was Mother's Day as well. So she was being a mother and caring. So I've got another one, Freya, the freedom godmother, and she protects the animals who are tested on, experimented on, used in animal testing. Petra, the furry godmother, she protects the animals that are used for fur. So I've got a whole list of godmothers that I'm yet to do. Yeah. And I may or may not be doing something special with those.
Wow. Oh yeah, that sounds exciting. Yeah, they're so cool. They're so beautiful. And I love that Kara was the first one and inspired by the activists in Christchurch because that's where are you originally from Christchurch?
Yeah, I was brought up in Christchurch. Yeah, I was born in Nelson, but my childhood was in Christchurch. But I've left Christchurch many times and come back. So yeah, I'll always say I'm from there.
It's a funny relationship with that city.
I had the same thing. Yeah. It has a
Especially
pull though.
Sorry?
It has a pull, I think.
It does, yeah. And then, yeah, it's interesting, I guess, because you lived through the quakes and everything as well. I wasn't there for that. I came back, I was overseas around 2015, early 2016, and then I came back actually on the day of the Valentine's Day quake.
I remember that one.
Yeah. So I came back. That was when I went vegan. Was a couple of weeks after that.
Oh wow. Oh, maybe did the earth shake the shake your brain?
Probably. Yeah. Exactly. Like shaking my life up, but it make some changes. Yeah, and that's been a big part of your journey, is the whole quake.
Yes. Actually, a huge that was the thing that made me be a full-time artist, because it was something I always wanted to do. Never fully believed I could do it, but sort of believed I could do it. And of course I had children. I was busy, and I was working various jobs and looking after my kids, but I had actually just the year of the first big earthquake in Christchurch, I had just enrolled in art school, and I'd done almost a year in Christchurch. And and then there was that first earthquake, and it was horrible. But we carried on, nobody died. And so it was kind of, we could get on with things, but I was a complete and utter nervous wreck really for the next few months, because I think we all were, because the aftershocks were just going on constantly for, several months until the next earthquake, and waking you up at night. And so I was on edge. And then when the next quake happened, and it happened in the daytime, and I happened to be in the city, which wasn't a good place to be, I was just, it did something to me, apart from terrify and stress me. It made me want to immediately change my life. And my first thought was, I'm leaving Christchurch. I'm not putting up with this anymore. Like, life's too short to be this miserable, and we did pack up, and we went to Timaru. We'd never been to Timaru before. And we spent a couple of years there and a couple of years in Dunedin. And what I did was I just continued my art degree in both places. And while I was doing that, I was just, I became more consolidated in the idea of being an artist, because I knew that it was what I needed to do. And I had just been hearing it for so long and sort of listening and sort of ignoring, because I was scared and I didn't know how to do it. And the earthquake just made me realize that just anything can change in a moment, and you've really got to live your joy, and you've really got to follow your soul's calling. If you're really miserable, something's not working. So yeah, it was a big shake up for me, actually, literally, figuratively. Yeah. So yeah, even though it was a rough experience, I sometimes wonder, if it hadn't happened, where would I be? Maybe I'd still be making art, because I was sort of going on that journey. But it really did. There are times when, I have my doubts and I feel like it's not working, and oh my gosh, I've got to get a job, even now. But I remember that, and I remember how, we don't know what's around the corner. And it just, I have to remind myself that, I've got to continue following my journey. And as soon as I feel that yes, I'm on the right path, things start coming together well for me. Yeah. So yay, earthquake.
Yeah.
Don't want another one.
Yeah, as I said, I never really, there was one later that year, was it, or the year after, I can't remember. There was one more, it was the one, I did experience one, but apart from that,
the Kaikoura one, maybe? Because we felt that in Christchurch quite big. Yeah,
that was quite big, and that was quite an extended, like, it ran for quite a while. It was like 2 minutes or something. But apart from that, and that Valentine's one, I haven't really experienced quakes in the way that you did, obviously, in the way that so many people in Christchurch, as you say, it was the aftershocks. It was like constant, like lots of little tremors, lots of little like mini traumas, I guess.
All the time, yeah. And
really,
even like, when a truck would go past a building and it would shake, everybody would just, it was, and even now sometimes if I feel a shake from a truck or something like that, just that physical response comes up again. It's not as bad as it was. But it was a rough time. I think because everybody around was stressed out as well. It was quite a stressful time. But we have those times in life.
Well, and art helps so much with dealing with that. And I've been through phases of my life where I've thought, I want to be an art therapist. How do I go back and study? And so it's been something that's been on my radar for a long time, and I think it's really cool. I think it's awesome. Like, art as therapy is really powerful. Any kind of art, expressing ourselves through our creativity. Just like I was dancing earlier today, I'm feeling, I've been fasting this week and feeling really good from that, and the energy that I feel now just like wants to come out, and so I'm dancing more again. And I find that really therapeutic, as well as painting. Paintings are different. I don't know how to describe. I think I get more, it's a different zone. I'm in a different zone when I'm painting to when I'm dancing. But I definitely feel like both, in any kind of art form, expression is therapeutic. So what's that been like for you, and how do you see that as helping activists and helping people who are making big changes for the world?
Yeah, and that's a really good question, actually, because when I first was when the vegan switch was turning on, and it was actually, I joined Facebook quite late in the game, And it was actually when we left Christchurch and I wanted to connect with people I'd left. And that was when I started learning things about the dairy industry and the egg industry and things I really wasn't aware of. I thought being vegetarian was enough, and I didn't quite realize, the horror of of the other things. And so I was joining groups and I was clicking on things because I was interested, and yet it was destroying me inside. And I was feeling so horrible, and seeing the images and the videos. It was making me very unhappy. And of course it was a great thing because it turned me vegan. And I think we need to see this because we need to know that this is what's happening. But at the same time, we've got to have positivity as well. Or we just get worn out. So for me, it was like trying to counteract those negative images and say, yes, this horrible stuff is happening, but this is the world, the way it looks potentially if we aren't doing those things, if we are being kind, if we are being compassionate. This is like this ideal, beautiful world that my mind has dreamed up, and this is how I want it to be, and this is how it can be. And so, what I have loved, and I've had messages from people who are in the animal rights movement, just kind of thanking me for, for, I guess, inspiring and just making them feel like I'm doing the right thing, instead of just every day thinking, oh, the world is hopeless. There just seems to be so much cruelty going on. And then you hear another story and another story, and you just think, how can I make a difference? Is this even happening? But then if you just think of it the other way and think, well, there's more and more people becoming aware, and there's more and more people reawakening their compassion and their empathy and their kindness towards others and towards animals. And one day it's going to be beautiful. I really do think it will. I think humanity can be a wonderful thing. It can be terrible, and there's always those days where I think, oh my gosh, humans, why? But I think ultimately we are good inside, and for some people it's deep, deep, deep down inside, but it's there. It's there in all of us. So it's more about just when you're an activist, you can just be, you can just feel so drained and so negative. So it's about sort of just keeping that inspiration going. This is why we're doing this. We're doing this because we want a world like this. I hope it helps in some way.
Definitely. Yeah, I think from an energetic, even spiritual point of view, the imprints that it leaves and the network of positivity, you're raising the vibration. Anybody who looks at your art is going to feel good, is going to feel, excited for this world that we are creating. Yeah, it's absolutely, and because you're so prolific, you've made so much, and there's so much the brightness and the positive energy that comes from it. It's like, energetically, it can't help but make a massive difference, because it's so connected, and you've got them all over the world now, and even just the energy of putting your love into just one, even if you had just created just one of them, and that was spread, and people were able to see that and feel inspired by that, and feel your energy and your hope as well, it lifts them up and helps them feel hope too, because it is amazing. Like, we are creating this new world, and as you say, it's very different to the world that does exist, but we don't need to focus on that so much. There is definitely a place for raising awareness and shining a light into the darkness. 100%. A lot of my activism has been about that. And then we have the speaker this evening is Dim, who will be talking about more of that kind of thing in filmmaking. And it's definitely needed. And
very much.
That, alongside that, I think they go hand in hand. Is having the brightness and the positivity and the the vision, your vision, as you say, like it's your world that you've created, that you see in your head, and sharing that with people, and for them to be able to receive that and see, you know, this is a possible world that we are creating, is super uplifting, and yeah, really inspiring. So do you, I personally, I've definitely been inspired by your work in terms of like doing more of my own art and doing more animal rights art. And I think it's just a matter of like, yeah, spreading it and helping encourage others to do similar things, you know, not just in their own way.
Yeah.
Creating, sharing their messages, sharing their art, sharing their love and their energy through their creative expression.
Yeah,
So,
I think there's so many different ways to do it as well.
yeah.
Activating through art. I mean, the Art of Compassion project, that's
Yeah.
a great example.
Really cool.
Shout out to that.
Yeah.
That's an amazing thing, you know, that we're both part of. Yeah, there's such a diverse range of artwork, all by vegan artists, and sometimes it's really confronting and, you know, quite horrific, and it makes people, oh my gosh, but you know what, it's teaching something. And it's not a photograph, it's a painting or a drawing, so it's a little bit easier to look at. So maybe people will spend a little bit more time looking at it, because it's an artwork, and thinking about it as well. But then, yeah, and then on the other side, there's, you know, the art that I do, and there's also the art that has words and quotes and messages as well, and then there's a lot of positive art on there as well. So I think it's all great. Yeah, it all works.
Exactly. It all tells a story. It all is just creates more transparency for the planet, and people are able to see what really goes on, you know, within animal use industries. And it's all just different truths, different like ways of looking at it, different expressions of your truth. Like, this is your truth, this is what you see. And for another artist who's shining light into the darkness by painting a picture that is pretty, you know, horrific, of, you know, an animal slaughter or something, that's a different kind of truth. It's the truth from the animal's perspective in a different way. So it's all important. It's all really valid.
Yeah, and I think we know what sort of art we need to produce, you know, if we just listen to our inner guidance. You know, I'm drawn to the way, you know, my version of activism art, whereas somebody else is drawn to doing it a different way, and none of it's wrong. It's all fantastic. Yeah, I think I like the way that art can sort of produce metaphors as well. You know, it's more than just a photo. It's like there's other things in it that you wouldn't see in a photograph. Quite hard to explain what I mean, but you can as an artist, you can mix things up and make it look, I don't know, like I remember a classic image of like a farmer with, you know, and it's a painting, and I think they've got their cat and their dog next to them, and they're, you know, cutting the throat of a cow, and it's kind of that whole, you know, hypocrisy, I guess. So, you know, there's some powerful messages that we can get across as artists. And I think, you know, one of the things for me is just reminding people about animals. I think people forget about animals, you know, especially farm animals. We just drive past them. They're just, you know, they're in a paddock. They're just these things that are standing around in a paddock. And people aren't thinking of them as actual sentient beings with souls. So doing a painting of one, and just even if I, you know, I might make it silly and give it wings or give it a hat or something like that, but it's just showing people that, hey, they're alive and they've got personality. So I hope that gets across sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like breaking down the barriers of objectification, really, because we're conditioned to just see animals as objects now. We don't see them, as you say, as sentient or as their own individuals. We just see them as like things that
Mm-hmm.
that are, yeah, they're beings,
Yeah.
but they've been so, the level of breeding and the level of just objectification. They're in these paddocks, like especially in New Zealand, it's quite heartbreaking driving around
Mm-hmm.
parts of New Zealand actually. Once
Yeah.
you've kind of had the,
Mm-hmm.
the, you see things from the animal's perspective, and if
Mm-hmm.
somebody goes vegan, they're going to see farms in a different way.
Yeah, like when you see a paddock with all baby cows,
Yeah.
you know they've been taken away from their mother. So instead of, you can't even enjoy those baby cows and go, oh my gosh, they're so cute, because it's heartbreaking at the same time. So yeah, it is hard. Yeah.
Especially when you know the whole process behind it. There's,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, for anyone who just hasn't been made aware, because we all were at that point at some, at some point in our lives. We just weren't aware, we just didn't know. And then we've had somebody, generally, somehow something has happened that's kind of shown us this different reality from a different perspective. But for people who haven't had that yet, that does look like just a group of really cute cows, and you can look at them and think, oh, they're so adorable. But once you know the process behind that, of the fact that they've had to be taken away from their mothers, everything that's happened to the mothers, the number of children that they've had constantly, churned out through their bodies, literally, and then the fathers as well. I think we forget about the fathers and the fact that they've been objectified, and they've had their bodies objectified and used. There's so much to it,
And they're the ones that get to grow up, like most of the boys don't. So that's the other, the other awful part of it. Yeah.
It's a whole crazy system. It's really interesting. Yeah, but yeah, you're doing so much amazing stuff with brightening the world with your art, and bringing more color and creativity and passion and joy to people. It's really beautiful.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I try. It's really nice that, the thing that gives me joy is giving others joy as well. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And I guess that, the power of social media, it's great for that. Otherwise, I'd just be in a little town in New Zealand. Maybe about 10 people have seen my work so far.
Yeah, well, Whangarei is a really beautiful artist environment, isn't it? I remember
it is.
when I was there a few years ago, I think it was about three years ago, I was in Whangarei for about a month, and I got to know a bit of the area's art. And there's just so many artists. There's so many people creating really amazing stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of artists. It's such a beautiful, the nature around here is just so beautiful. I think it's just a nice go-to place for artists. A lot of artists want to move here, because we like seeing beauty. Yeah, but I love it up here, and I love the weather as well. The weather down in Christchurch didn't suit me much. It was a little bit cold.
Yeah, a little bit chillier than Whangarei.
Yeah.
What's the movement like for artists? Do you see things becoming more, I don't know, what are people painting, like outside of animal rights? What are people painting in that community? Is there a lot of nature? Because I remember when I was there was a lot of like water. Are people painting more animals? Or
Not so much. I see bird paintings a lot, and actually sometimes, farm animals, because there are a lot of farmers around here, and they do like to hang farm animal pictures on their walls. But yeah, it's a lot of nature, like you say, a lot of sort of hills, landscapes, mountains, water, but also a lot of abstract artists as well. There's quite quite eclectic, I think that's the right word, bunch of artists doing lots of different things. And seeing it more and more. A lot of it's kind of hidden away, and then you see it when there's like a studio tour or something like that. But I'm lucky that I'm in my studio's in the Quarry Art Centre. So there's, I don't
Oh,
know how
yep.
many artists are there, actually. I should know that number, but there's a few of us. So there's lots of little buildings that were built in the early 80s. Very funky. Every little studio is different. And it's a nice little place to be, actually. So everyone's just there making art. So it's really nice to be around other artists.
Yeah.
Makes a big difference.
That's
Yeah.
so cool. Yeah, you just reminded me of, I couldn't remember that part of Whangarei, but the Quarry Art Centre, there's people doing pottery and
Yeah.
jewelry and like that kind of art as well, right? Like a lot of
Yeah, it's big on pottery there, actually. Yeah, there's they've got kilns and pottery rooms and pottery wheels, and yeah, so there's a lot of ceramics going on down there.
mm,
Yeah, and there's there's a lot of artists that have been there for years, and then there's some that just move in and out. So we get lots of different, we've got writers, photographers, lots of painters and potters. Yeah, and we've had we've got jewelry makers, carvers, yeah, all sorts.
mm. Oh,
Makes
that's
life
so cool.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
I
it's so
think I'm the only vegan down there, though.
okay. Well, I'm sure people are seeing and feeling inspired. So
You never
yeah.
know. Yeah.
There's yeah, it's a cool place. I really love that.
Mm,
That space. I remember feeling really inspired by the art and the murals as
mm,
well. There's a lot of,
mm.
I think a lot of positive change comes from murals, from big,
Yeah.
street art. Like where I am at the moment,
Yes.
I'm in Melbourne. One of the reasons I moved here in 2017 was for the art, was for the food and the activism and the art.
Oh, the art in Melbourne blows me away. It's just
Yeah,
fantastic. Yeah, beautiful city. Love it.
so
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Mm,
The I was blessed when I first moved here. Just a series of synchronicities and just following my intuition and my guidance. I ended up actually
mm,
working really closely with an artist who has been a massive inspiration to me. We actually ended up going to um, there's a Benalla International.
oh,
Is
yeah.
it Benalla? Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I know what you
yeah.
mean. Yeah.
Do you know Jenny McCracken?
No.
She's done in recent years, she's done some really massive paintings on like silos and things,
Right.
but mostly her art has been 3D chalk, like pavement art.
Mm.
And so
Oh,
at this
cool.
international street art festival, she invited me to be her apprentice. Basically, I went
Oh,
and I was
amazing.
working with her on this awesome piece that was about the gorillas, and forest, like deforestation, and raising awareness around different foods that use palm oil. So it was all around, raising
Mm.
awareness for the environment and the animals, through this big piece that we worked on together at this street art festival. So there's
Oh.
like so much scope, I think, for so many people to make an impact, make a difference, raise awareness through their art in different ways. And tonight as well, when Dim is with us this evening, his experience is also with street art, with stencils, and I think the more
Yeah.
we can get messages out through our creativity, literally on the streets and on people's walls and on social media and through music and through videos, all these different things, I think it all makes a massive difference. So
A huge difference. Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, we're visual beings. We like seeing things,
Yeah.
and we can take things in. You can talk to someone and you can write things, but people, I think, absorb more when they're looking at it.
Mm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even if they
Exactly.
don't know they're absorbing it, which is probably the best
Yeah.
because it's unconscious.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it gets in there. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, when you're like, I love art galleries. I love going to
Mm.
galleries and spending time with the painting and just like being present with it and being there and as you say, absorbing. There's like these codes. It's the energy that's put into the painting that we absorb as codes that kind of awaken
Mm.
things within us. And that's a really that's just something that I really enjoy is when I'm traveling, I like going to galleries and spending time with the art and hearing the stories, reading the stories behind them as well. Like I love the fact that you have stories associated with your paintings, and is that that's like the story of the character as well as how it kind of came about for you, or
Yeah, it depends on the painting, but yeah, a lot of in the last couple of years, I tend to write just an imaginary story.
yeah.
Yeah, about
Mm-hmm.
the characters in the painting. Yeah, and of course it depends on the painting, but yeah, I love writing stories. It's probably my first love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember whenever my mother went to parent teacher conferences, they always told her I should be a writer. I was always thinking, oh, they didn't mention my art. Did they say anything about my art? It was always about writing. So
Oh,
yeah, I think, but I've always just done it. I
yeah.
write stories and I write little poems and things just all the time. Whenever I'm moving house, I just find bunches of bits of paper and notebooks and things where I've written story ideas. So, I think that's probably something I need to use and get
Mm.
on with and do. Yeah, that whole
Well,
listening to what you're supposed to be doing.
oh yeah,
Yeah, and
you're
finally hearing
cold
it.
calling.
Mm,
It can take time. It takes time
yeah,
to listen to those soul nudges and to be like, all right, yeah,
it can.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
do
I think, and
it.
it's always good though to listen to them before they become more than a nudge.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm.
sometimes we just get nudged for too long, and then it's like a kick.
It's like just do
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, I know
Do it
there's a
before
lot of
that
things
happens.
that I've been like, all right, I'm gonna do that. I will.
Mm,
And then but you kind of just wait for, for me now, there's if for example putting this together, there's everything just kind of flowed based on those nudges, and there were times where I was putting something off and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it, reaching out to somebody, or with the website, or whatever it is, there's things that I know that it needs to be done. I'm just kind of
mm,
waiting for the right time, and then
yeah,
I mean, I'm pretty good now. I think I'm just in flow where I'm generally, not always, but generally just pick up my phone at the right time and send that message,
yeah.
or do that, whatever needs to happen, whatever I need to
Mm,
do. I'm like, okay, now's the time. I'm just going to do it.
yeah,
But there
brilliant. Yeah.
definitely are times where I'm like procrastinating, or
Mm.
you know um
But maybe it's not the right time then too.
exactly,
So, I don't think we
for
have to do
whatever
everything
reason.
immediately. We're not
Yep.
supposed to, perhaps.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Sometimes it's all just unfolding. It's all like a
Mm.
beautiful divine timing of everything. It's all
Hmm.
for whatever reason, and we might not be conscious of it at the time.
Yeah.
It all just kind of happens the way
Yes.
it's supposed to. Yeah. It's
I
very
totally
cool.
believe in that. Yeah. I mean, I've given myself a hard time for not having done a book yet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think actually I wouldn't have done it well until now. I think this is
Mm.
the exact right time.
Yeah.
I've got all the experience of all my creating, and now I know how to do it.
Yeah.
I would have probably done one that it was a bit mediocre. It wasn't 100% right, if I tried years ago. And so,
Mm.
yeah, I think sometimes it's the timing being right as well. But sometimes we do procrastinate when
Mm.
we shouldn't. So, yeah, it's just learning that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that is all part of the journey. Part of the learning
Mm.
is making mistakes, or they might not
Hmm.
even be mistakes. They're just things that
No.
we need to yeah, to learn from, grow, and
Hmm.
just yeah, just
Yeah.
experience life and be human.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been a really awesome talk. It's so nice to connect and just be able to chat and get to know you better as well, and hear your views and your experiences and everything. Did you want to? We could do a little meditation if you like. I can guide a little visualization of animals in the wild, or whatever needs to come through. I really love doing these. They're kind of shamanic journeys, taking
Hmm.
people down a path and seeing what happens. So if you'd like to do that, we could do that, and we can.
Sure. Yeah. You're leading the way, I assume.
Yeah, I can do that. Okay, so we've got a couple of people watching. How's it going? Drop a comment, give us some hearts. I've seen a few hearts and things come through as we've been chatting. So there's been some people giving some love. So yeah, whoever's with us and watching live or on the replay, hey Sarah, thanks for joining. Sarah's an artist as well. I've seen some of your work. It's beautiful.
Cool.
So yeah, if you're watching now or later on the replay or on YouTube, we'll just do a little guided meditation. I'm feeling a bit more energy today. I couldn't do this at the beginning of the week. I was like, it's too much.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. It's always nice for me to do as well, though, because I receive as much as it kind of flows through. So just getting ourselves comfortable. Might want to lie down or sit up straight, feet on the ground, just getting your spine nice and straight. We'll just like sit down into our root, into our seat. And you might want to have your hands in your lap or on your knees or on your heart space. Just bring yourself into the present moment through your breath. We'll just take a few nice deep breaths in together through our nose. Bring the air up into our minds, down through the trunks of our bodies, down into our root. And as we release, just imagine the energy flowing through your body, releasing anything that is of any density, anything that is of a lower emotion, lower vibrational emotion, or any kind of negativity, or whatever you want to release. If there's something you want to just let go of, let it go down into the earth and feel Mother Earth absorbing and transmuting and turning anything that is not of your highest good, of love and light, high vibrational, beautiful emotion, just transmuting that into love, turning it back into life through the soil, through the plants around us, and back into air and water and fire and back into the earth. So we'll take a few more deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just keep breathing at your own pace, allowing that energy to move through you as the breath of life, chi, prana, life force, or however you want to think of it, spirit, light, coming in through your head and coming up through your mind, connecting with your crown, connecting with your third eye, with your throat chakra, your heart space, your solar plexus, your sacral, your womb space, down into your root and down into the earth, and bring your consciousness through your body, through your trunk, the trunk of this tree of life that we are, walking, talking, breathing trees of life. Bring your awareness down into the earth, and as you continue to release what no longer serves, release lower emotions, anything that you want to, and let Mother Earth turn that back into life, and feel that energy moving through the roots below us and coming up, growing up into other plants, trees, grasses, flowers, bushes, And as that spreads around you, as you feel the growth of life in the space around you where you are, feel your connectivity with those plants, with the life, with the water that moves through all living things, coming up and creating this beautiful bed of grasses and of flowers around you, and all the different colors and all the different frequencies and all the different energies that are there as they grow up into the trees. And as you see these trees and these plants around you, what animals are in that space, sharing that space with you? The animals that might be birds in the branches, they might be worms in the earth, they might be insects, they might be butterflies, they might be birds on the ground, they might be chickens, they might be cows, pigs, or any kind of animals, any kind of other beings that are sharing this space with you. Just look at them, just connect with them, with the energies that they inherently are, their beings, their beingness, the light and the life that's in their eyes. Just connect in with them for a few moments. Just look at them and feel their energy as they look back, feeling into this space and feeling into the connection with these beautiful beings who all have a right to be here and be sharing this beautiful planet with us. This beautiful web of life. We all share the breath, we all share water that flows through our veins, that we drink, plants that we eat, the sounds that we hear, bird calls. We hear the sounds of trickling water, of the breeze through the leaves. This beautiful web of life, of unity, of pure source consciousness that moves through us all. Just bathe in this for a few moments, breathing, seeing the colors, seeing the movement. And as you continue to breathe, know that you are an integral part of this beautiful tapestry, this fabric of life. You are important, and your connection with other beings is important. Your connection with the unified field, this unity consciousness of all living, breathing things that we share this world with, is important. Just absorbing the light that comes through the eyes of these beings, sharing your light with them. Now, in this moment, just invite you to bring your awareness to the space in front of you, in front of your heart space. Bring your awareness to who is there, whether that's an animal, an insect, a plant, another human. or some other kind of animal that's in front of you. Bring your awareness to that being. Just connect in with them and send them love. Send them your light, healing, blessings coming from your heart space. Maybe you want to visualize this energy coming from your heart to theirs through this beautiful portal of light, of love. Maybe you want to visualize it as a flame, as a green fire, or a purple flame, or whatever color comes to you. This gateway that is always present between us and others, from our hearts to another's heart. And send your love to them and receive love from them. And open up that heart space. Open up your heart to receive. And allow that light and that love into your heart space as you send it. As much as you send, you are worthy and able to receive. You might even want to visualize this flame in between the two of you. Maybe there's a fire that's burning there that is unique. Just look into this flame. Feel into it. Feel the warmth of that beautiful fire. That you can share in this moment, knowing that the light that is that fire, that comes from the heart of that fire, is part of you and part of the other and part of the whole. And just bring that warmth, that light into your own heart space. Maybe you want to put your hands over your heart, feel into that space and that openness, and feel it expand as you continue to breathe and breathe that air and that light into your heart space. Just focus on that. And as you continue to breathe into that heart space, just send yourself love. Feel love for yourself, for who you are. Feeling compassion for yourself. The amount of work that you do, the amount of energy that you give to the world to change the world. Send love to all aspects of your being, your inner child, your human physical vessel, your higher self, your you, the being that you are. Send love to every part of yourself, knowing that you are worthy, you are divine, you are a powerful, powerful creator, spark of the divine. and you are connected with everything and everyone in this beautiful web of life. And just gently bringing your awareness back to your breath as you breathe in through your nose. And bring your awareness to your eyes as you flutter them open whenever you're ready. There's no rush, you can stay here. And just breathe. Feel the energy, feel the love. When you're ready, just bring your awareness to your hands. Maybe you want to rub your hands together. Feel the sensations. And be back with us in this present moment.
That was really beautiful, Lucy. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing this time with me and with all of us, and being part of a big part of the change. I'm really, really honored to know you and be able to just, be part of this amazing time in Earth's history. It's an incredible time to be alive.
It is, yeah. I'm equally honored to know you. Thank you so much for having me on this.
Oh.
I know I tried to resist, so thank you for persuading me.
I know. I think when I first reached out, I was like, come on, please. Please join us. I'm so glad that you did take that leap of faith. It's definitely like this whole thing for me, at the beginning of the week, I definitely had my fears, and it's been a journey throughout the week as well. But, last week I was like, oh, it feels like this cliff I'm just about to jump off. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to go. But it's just human connection, connection with other beings, and the connections with other animals is definitely been. I think it's been quite evident, and it's just you jump off the cliff and you just spread your wings and you fly. You just fly.
Exactly. Yeah. You didn't know you had those wings, but they were there the whole time. Yeah.
Exactly.
Love it.
And it's been a journey with everyone who's been part of this with us. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sarah, for joining us today. It's been really lovely, and it's been nice to connect and have your energy as part of this beautiful unfolding of this story. So thank you so much, Lynda, for being with us. Yeah, well,
my pleasure.
I'll put this on YouTube in a minute.
Awesome.
The time is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a great time. I love it.
Ah, look at that. I love numbers.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. It'll be 2, 3, 4 for you where you are, isn't it?
Oh yeah, true. Oh, that's confusing me already, thinking about time zones.
I know. So strange. But it's so nice that we can connect online this way, and we have this beautiful technology of the internet.
I know, isn't it wonderful? Yeah.
Super cool. So
I do remember a time without internet, but I don't know how I got by.
Wow. Yeah, it's an amazing time for us to be alive. So thank you so much.
Awesome.
I'm gonna have something to eat. I have been, as I said, I've been fasting. I've been on a solid food vacation since Tuesday, and I feel amazing.
Good on you. I did 2 days earlier this week, and I couldn't do a third.
Well, what your body needs. You're the one who knows what your body needs. So I'm gonna go get something to eat.
Yay. Enjoy that.
This closing ceremony. Thank you. And then tomorrow I'm actually going to there's an ice bath experience that I'm going to have with some friends here, and we're going to be in the forest for a little bit.
Whoa.
I'm really looking forward to being offline for a little, and then back to Sydney tomorrow night. So
Yeah, you need it. Yeah, replenish yourself. You've done good work this week.
Thank you so much. It's been a blessing. So yeah, enjoy your weekend.
I
Um,
shall, and you too. Maybe I'll see you in New Zealand sometime soon.
yeah, well, now that the borders have opened, I can come back. I can see my family. I want to see my parents as soon as possible. I think the
Yeah,
19th is when we can actually come over. We can start
yeah,
flying over. So
that's
soon.
right.
Yeah, I'll be.
Exciting.
Mm.
No quarantine hotels. It's awesome.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can just go and just be with my parents. I'm really looking forward to
Mhm.
it.
Yeah,
So,
they will be too, I'm sure. Yeah.
It's been a while. It's been over a year this time. So
That's a long time.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All
Well,
right.
yeah. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You
Thank you
too.
so much. And I'll put this on YouTube and I'll send it to you and you can share and we can get it out and share the code.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. It's
Thank
been
you.
great. Thank you so much.
Lots of love, Linda. I'll see you soon.
Bye.
Beautiful
Okay.
day.